Hello, welcome to another episode of Awakening with Soulspirational. I'm Tish, and today I'm going to do what I did the last time. I am going to pull a card from my Grace Cards deck by Cheryl Richardson, and we're going to see what card comes up that I'm just going to talk about just off the top of my head, whatever comes to mind. The purpose of doing this is for those that are watching. Nothing about this episode may pertain to you at all, and there may be others where this is really what you needed to hear today. So I'm just, divine timing, whatever it may be, I'm just putting it out there. We're going to see what winds up, what the card winds up being. So these are dual-sided cards, so I'm just going to kind of look away and trust that whatever card is supposed to come up for today's episode is what comes up. All right. All right, let's see here. So the card that came up is silence. Up here again. And on the back it says, "Be still. A daily practice of silence bears gifts. A heightened sensitivity to beauty, deep inner peace, and a profound feeling of connectedness to all living beings." How beautiful is that? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put this card up top and we're just going to talk about silence. All right. Silence is the name. And then be still. A daily practice of science, that too. A daily practice of silence bears gifts. A heightened sensitivity to beauty, deep inner peace, this one's a longer one, and a profound feeling of connectedness to all living beings. And again, these are from Cheryl Richardson. And they're called Grace Cards. Okay, so let me pin this up top here so we have it to look at as we go through here. Okay, so silence, be still, be still. If any of you have read The Impersonal Life, I don't know, I love that book. It's so many different things bringing us back to be still, be still. A daily practice of silence bears gifts. A daily practice of silence bears gifts. A heightened sensitivity to beauty, deep inner peace, and a profound feeling of connectedness to all living beings. So let's go back up to the be still, because obviously this is all self-explanatory. But what I want to do is with these cards is go deeper. So for those of you that have been watching my episodes, I'm always going to challenge you to go deeper. That is where the true, to me, the nuggets are of information, of beauty, of healing, instead of just being on the surface all the time. And you know, it's great for a lot of things to just be on the surface, look at things as they are. But when we can go even deeper, oftentimes that's where I get incredible insight, because I'm not just satisfied with what's at the surface. I want to go in, and then that's where I'll have, divine inspiration, whatever it may be. So, all right, but the first thing we have to do is be still. Be still. And you can see the way that I talk with my hands, the way I move around. It's hard for me to be still. But when I go into meditation, I've been doing it long enough that it's just, I can just be still. It isn't easy for everybody. Some easier than others when we're first starting, and we'll go over some, well, we'll go into that now. So the be still. If part of that being still, if you're thinking about meditation, if you haven't already started meditation, for me, it was a whole lot easier to start with guided meditation, because my brain was given something to do. Otherwise, if I would sit just to quiet the mind, we call it the monkey mind, that it just keeps jumping all over the place. It won't stay still. I can't focus. My mind won't stop. So what's the point of even sitting? Why even try to be still? Because the mind has been able to do whatever it's been wanting to do for however many years that you've been alive for. So it takes some practice. So with guided meditation, for me, my mind was already given a task. I am listening to whatever the meditation is, and my brain is following along, so I can imagine whatever it is, that guided meditation, whatever that visualization is, that visualization meditation, or the guided visualization. So my brain has its job to do, and I am seeing the different imagery as I'm walking through the woods in my mind, or if I'm going on a great hike or climbing steps. My brain has a job to do. When I was trying to just sit and be still, it was too much in the beginning. So one of the things I learned to do was to have a notepad beside me. So if the mind's like, hey, you got to change over laundry. Hey, don't forget, you got to do this, you got to do that. What I would do is just open up an eye, jot down whatever it was that my brain was trying to get my attention from or for, and then I would reassure myself, my mind, hey, listen, I got it, I wrote it down, so as soon as I open up my eyes, I'm going to see it, it's good. If you know that, for some of us, when we go into meditation, we find that we fall asleep, even if we're sitting in a chair, because it's suggested that you're not lying down going into meditation unless that's part of the guided meditation. Sometimes I'll do certain guided meditations that actually put me to sleep, that help me sleep better. So otherwise, generally speaking, we want to be sitting up. But we finally get to relax. And in that relaxed state, oftentimes we can fall asleep. So if you do have something coming up, maybe you have to pick the kids up from school, or you have to meet a friend or a family member somewhere, just set the timer on your phone. Make sure your volume's up. Set the timer on your phone. And then go on into meditation. And then you know that you'll be done enough time. So, okay. So be still. Be still. Practicing it daily. So if when we're just starting out, I know for myself, every day, whatever, I didn't have the time. I have too much to do because we're all busy. We're busy. So that was my excuse, and it was a legitimate one. I was busy. I was constantly going, but I wasn't taking the time for myself. So there are so many things I was missing out on because I was just caught up in the whirlwind and the chaos of life. Once I started to take some time for guided meditation, even little by little, even if it's once a month, maybe start once a month, And then you go to twice a month, once a week, a couple times a week, kind of work our way up. And as you watch, and really I would suggest try to start off at least weekly, but I'm also a realist. I know how life can pull us away. So when we stop and we breathe, today is November 12th. It is our first significant snowfall of the season. I don't know, once I hit my 40s, I haven't been the happiest to see the snowfall, but there just really is something beautiful about it, especially that first snowfall. And we had a significant amount, the way that it just rests on the branches of the trees. By doing meditation, by practicing meditation and mindfulness, I just find that it truly has heightened my sensitivity to beauty. Even with, the veins on the leaves, different aspects, seeing different things with my animals, just feeling deeper. I kind of see it like a Claritin Clear commercial. You know how they rip off the film and everything's just clear and brighter, more colorful. That's how I see this when we take the time to go there. And if I'm kind of have missed it in my body, my spirit nudges me. I know it, I can feel it, and it's about getting back in there. And that deep inner peace, because when we are still, if we are in a chaotic state of being, where our minds are chaotic, the body is chaotic, the spirit to me is just, it's always still, it's always perfect, it's always beautiful within us. That spirit, that connection to God within us. So to me, it's just always perfect. But if my mind is in a state of chaos because I have all these things that I have to get done, I've got to run here, I've got to run there, I've got to worry about this person, I've got to worry about that thing. With that, then my body is trying to keep up with, my mind is telling me that I have to do this and I have to do that and the next thing. And so my body is just moving and moving and moving. It's like I'm not even thinking about my spirit because I'm just trying to play catch up. I'm just trying, my body's just trying to catch up with my mind in all the different directions it wants to go and all the things we have to do until I'm just exhausted. But when we take the time for ourselves to be still, then we find that peace. So, and it's kind of like that still point in the chaos. And then slowly, as we remain in that place of stillness, in that place of quiet, then the chaos can start slowing down and slowing down and slowing down. So it may not be where you have complete silence when you're in meditation. But if we can just bring down the energy, the chaos and the commotion within the mind, and the body gets to rest right along with it, we're finding peace. We're finding peace in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the storm. If you're at work and it's chaotic, go to the bathroom. Just calm. Or if there's, a break room or a quiet space where you can go to just to take a couple deep breaths and relax. And, we have this saying, take 10, deep breaths or count to 10. It really does help to bring down some of, even though things around us may still be chaotic, it's how we're feeling inside. And when we're operating from a place of deep inner peace, when I am in a place of stillness, mind, body, spirit to me always is, but if I'm in a state of stillness, but everything is chaotic around me, I find I'm more apt to respond rather than to react. Because when I'm chaotic along with the energy, then I'm reacting. So whatever, comes to mind, da-da-da-da-da. But if I'm the quiet in the midst of the storm, so to speak, It's kind of like I can just watch things go around and I can choose what it is that I want to deal with in that moment, or what it is I want to respond to in that moment. So finding that deep inner peace that I don't have to get caught up, although I tend to eventually get sucked right back up and then it's chaotic again. And then I'll remind myself, no, get back to the still point. All right, so, and then a profound feeling of connectedness to all beings. When we're in the state of silence, when we're still, when you're using meditation as a form of, as part of your spiritual journey. So maybe you're going into meditation because you want to be able to see more things internally. You want to see things otherworldly. You want to escape, and we don't want to use anything as a form of escapism to pull us out of where we are, but in a grander scheme, I don't know if I want to get into that, but we're escaping. We are going into meditation, and we are going wherever our minds take us, and it's pretty flippin' awesome. When we are connected, so some of the meditations I will do, I'll do my own visualization meditations. Some I found online, some that you just kind of stuff that you follow your mind when you're there. So, as I see this light, I see this divine light in which all of us are connected to, that beautiful God light, one consciousness, the universe, however you see it. And I see my stream of that divine light, which is, to me, it's my spirit. It's that which I'm connected to God. But when I see that light, that source energy, again, God, the divine, and there are some billions of strands of light coming off of it just for the earth. And then not to mention for the animals, because I truly believe that God's light is in them as well. Every living thing has the grace of God within it. So when I go into meditation and I see this light, this beauty, and how all of us are connected, I was already empathic to begin with before I did meditation, but it really brings me to a deeper state of understanding and compassion, and to a certain degree empathy. I have sometimes with empathy we have to be careful because we're already taken on so much of we already have so much of our own stuff that to take on or feeling the emotions of somebody else can be heavy, to say the least. But knowing that we are connected, and to me, I've said often that, if somebody in Boise, Idaho hurts, I hurt. Even though I may not consciously be aware of that, it's reverberating back and through. And if somebody in, Miami is exuberant, there's a part of me that is exuberant. It's just there's so many of us vibrating at all these different levels. There's no way we're going to be able to determine whose sorrow or whose love that we're feeling in any given moment. But to me, if it all comes back to this source of beauty, this source of love, God, as we are resonating the vibration up, as it's coming back down, it's just we're all one, we're all connected here. And feeling into that, knowing that there is not a person on this earth that I can hate, especially not in a spiritual sense, because to hate anybody would be hating a piece of myself, because we're all connected through spirit, right? Now, I can be totally unhappy with the way somebody is in their human life, because we're both. So I cannot like somebody for the type of human being that they've chosen to be or that they are, but I can still love them on a spiritual perspective. So again, silence. if you were looking for that heightened sensitivity to beauty, if you want to see things clear, if you want to be able to appreciate them more, take time and be still. Go to that place of silence. If you were looking for deeper inner peace that so many of us are looking for, take some time, be still. Okay, and go be silent, go into meditation. Turn the TV off. And if it's just during, you know, the commercial set, if you're watching TV, put mute on and just sit quietly. Just be still. Sit in silence and be still. Because typically you have, what, 2.5 to 5 minutes sometimes with commercials. Take those couple of moments. And if you do that, you know, a show or two a night, you're still getting some of that peace, some of that, you're giving your mind, your body, and your spirit a break. And if you feel so many people that, I've encountered so many people doing what I do who have said, I just never felt like I belong here. I feel so different. And I understand that because I always did too. Like, why am I here? I don't feel like I belong here. I feel so different. Like the aisle of the misfit toys, and you know, what's wrong with me? And then coming to realize that I'm not alone. That there are so many of us that we feel disconnected. Where do I fit in? But when we start plugging in, by being still and going into silence, when we start plugging in to who we truly are, what is within us, we find our connection with everything. So when we feel isolated and alone, nobody understands me, nobody's listening to me, nobody cares about me, etc. The more that we sit still in silence, we can feel that connection to know we are never alone. We may have an individualized body and purpose, our own thoughts and opinions, those kinds of things, obviously, but through spirit, all of us are connected. And when you see that in meditation, when you can feel the enormity that you can possibly imagine, and even that is only what your body is allowing you to even feel or to sense, because I can imagine the true enormity of oneness. But even what your mind will allow you to accept and to feel, it's just humbling and beautiful and amazing. We're never alone. We're all connected. And this is where, when Jesus speaks of, you know, do as your brothers you to have done to you. And we hear this in different religions and different contexts, because our brothers are us. We are them. So if you don't want your brother to have something because you're envious, then it's also saying in a regard that, or in a certain way, that I don't want that in my life. I don't want him to have it, therefore I'm not going to have it. I mean, it's just this weird thing. I don't know. But when you can be happy for your brother that, oh my gosh, you know, my neighbor down the street, they just got this great boat. It'd be great someday to have a boat. Well, not for me, I don't swim. But you know what I mean. So it would, you know, I would love to have a boat someday. Good for them for being able to get that boat. When we can rally behind them and lift them up, then we have a better chance. And maybe it isn't a boat for us. Maybe it's a car, or maybe it's a trip to Bali. Who knows, right? So these beautiful things can connect because through a state of grace, a state of love, we are cheering on our brothers and sisters as we would want them to cheer us on, and as we should be cheering on ourselves. So when we are at that place of, yes, I get to do this, I get to do that, I've experienced this, I'm about to experience that, feel the joy in that. And remember, if somebody else looks at you and they're envious, I mean, that's envy comes from within. There's a reason for that. And I don't want to talk about that today. But I want to just remind us of that connection. Just keep connected. Remember how you're feeling towards them. First, you got to have it within here anyway, and you're really just getting more of the same. So the more we root for our brothers and sisters, the more that we can come back. So, all right, that reverberates back to us. So to recap, silence, be still, a daily practice of silence bears gifts. A heightened sensitivity to beauty, deep inner peace, and a profound feeling of connectedness to all living things. Be that stillness in the midst of all that chaos. All right, so hopefully, that sparks something within you, get you thinking. And hey, you know what? If this got you to just go to YouTube to look up guided meditations and the rest of it, this episode, you didn't care about, then that was, you got something out of this video then. It got you to go to YouTube. And again, just search guided meditations. Pretty much anything you're looking for, you're gonna find in there. So, okay, thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you have any questions, feel free to call or message me, email me. So otherwise, until next time, thank you, be well, and namaste.